Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Myself Nikhil Lamje, and in this course we will be learning Git and Github. Basically, I would take you from Git, GitHub, its architecture and all the commands associated with it. So basically in this lecture one, we will be learning what is Git. What is Git? As Wikipedia goes, Git is a free and open source software for distributed version control, tracking changes, and any set of files, usually associated for coordinating work among programmers collaboratively developing source code during software development. So basically, Git is a distributed version control which allows different programmers from all different remote locations to collaborate work. So before going towards that, let's understand what is this distributed version controls. It is basically a distributed version control. So before that distributed version control, let's understand what version control really is. So basically, uh, let's understand versions. So let's consider a web development project which we are undergoing. We have developed a main.html. So this basically is the code for main.html, and we have this code in our local repository. So the first question comes is how my friends or any team members can collaborate with me in this project. So this is basically our first issue. So today, the second issue which comes is this is the code which I've made on day one. So basically on day two, I am adding an image in this main.html code. So basically, what if this image gives me an error? So there should be some way. So basically, this is one line of code, so we can make the changes accordingly. But consider a situation which is encountered daily by all software engineers, which we have hundreds and thousands lines of code which is updated daily. So there should be a system or a software which controls every version associated with it. On day two, again, if we consider this same situation with another file, we add contact.html. So it's version, so automatically our version changes to version 2. We also would have observed this situation when it comes to Play Store apps or games. They are updated with new versions almost every month. So basically how this all happens. So basically a version control system is a key to all this solution. So a version control system can be divided into two parts, two types basically. Central version control system, centralized version control system, and distributed version control system. Example of CVC or a DVC, example of which is an SVN, and the our agenda of our course, that is get that comes under distributed version control system. So basically what is centralized version control system? So in centralized version control system, there is a working copy of the code saved in this server repository, from where all the developers consider this PC workstation as developer 1, developer 2, developer 3. Basically, All the developers can update and commit the code from the central repository or the central server. We can pull, so as uh, D1 makes is changes, he will update the code and it will commit it. So basically the same code can be used by D3 as an update request from the server. With the and after implementing his changes, he can commit it to the server so that both D1 and D2 can update the code accordingly. So basically, this server has a great limitation, which is the central repository. So what if central repository goes down? Then there would be no coordination between all the developers. So here, so for this issue, we have a solution which is distributed version control system. So basically, in distributed version control system, we have a central repository, but we also have repository on local system as well. So basically, the developer D1 will have its own repository. D2 would have its own repository, and D3 would have its own repository. So whatever changes of the code D1 has to make, he can make in his own repository without hampering the remote or the server repository. So basically what D1 does is he uh, commits the code in repository, and if he wants the code back, he can update it. So after committing the code in his own local repository, so it is not accessible by D2 or D3. So if D2 or D3 wants to access his code, then D1 will make a push request to the main server, which is our central repository. So he then so D1 then pushes this code to central repository, and basically D2 and D3 can make a pull request and get that code in their local repository, and then can make changes according to them and can update or commit in their local repository. Once their changes are finalized, they can commit it to the central repository and vice versa. And this process goes on. So in this process, we basically uh, consume less resources, as we can do almost all changes in our local repository, and during some critical version days, we can push it or make a pull request. So basically, this central server, uh, central repository or central server is termed as GitHub in our Git and GitHub architecture. So that was all for this lecture. Thank you very much. Stay tuned for upcoming lectures.